and welcome to Generally Speaking, the podcast that bridges the worlds of pop culture and personal development. I'm your host, Jennifer Snook. I'm so happy to be here with you guys today. I hope everything has been going well in your world. Things have been fine in mine. Unfortunately, though, we can't say as much from Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban. Anyway, there is a lot to talk about, you guys. We've got that whole Miami bombshell about to drop at the reunion. Anyway, we're going to get into all of it. But before we do, if you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure you reach out and smash that subscribe button. I would appreciate it. Now, you guys, after 19 years of marriage, Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman, Splitsville. I mean, this is one that I definitely did not see coming because they always just seem so aligned and so in love. And honestly, it didn't look forced to me. It just looked like they were still head over heels, madly in love with each other. But I mean, clearly that is not the case. And so now there's this talk that Nicole was trying to hold it together, but he moved out anyway. And all of this kind of undertone that he has reverted back to alcohol or drugs or whatever his vices were that he was addicted to previously. But, I just want to say this. Don't jump to conclusions, everybody, because just because Keith Urban wanted out of this marriage doesn't mean that he is, addicted to whatever he was addicted to again. It doesn't mean that he has fallen back into his old ways. I mean, it's very possible that they have just outgrown each other, or maybe he's outgrown her and she's just not ready to let go. I mean, there's a million different reasons. And then there's also, there's also the possibility that there's another woman involved. I've heard that. Anyway, not a fun time for either one of them. And quite honestly, 19 years of what seemed like a pretty happy marriage, I would call that a success. They have two beautiful daughters. So, I mean, I think that's a win for everyone, honestly. On another much happier note, you guys, how beautiful was the wedding of Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco? I mean, just gorgeous, right? What about those pictures they posted? I mean, I just feel like the whole world is so happy to see Selena so happy. And I also just want to give a huge shout out to my girls, Nikki and Rihanna, and actually so much of the 901 team who went to Santa Barbara to help Selena have the most beautiful bridal hair ever. I mean, didn't she look gorgeous? Selena is and has been an OG 901 girl. So it was so special. Oh, it chokes me up for our girls. So special for Nikki and Rihanna to be able to share this day with her when they have shared so much history with her. They have been with her through so much, to then be there at this point where she is just really in her glory. I know it was so special for all of them, for everyone. I got back to work Monday after the wedding, and everyone was in the salon and everyone was still beaming. There was still so much love in the air, and everyone is just so happy for Selena and Benny. And then there was Britney Cartwright this week, you guys. Did you hear her? Did you see her get interviewed about special forces? And she is looking for any reason that she can to explain away her incredibly poor performance. And she's decided to land on, the famous word triggered, which I have an issue with. Here's the thing, you guys. You don't run away from your triggers. Britney's saying that the reason she left is because she was triggered. Well, guess what? Being triggered doesn't give you carte blanche to run. When you're triggered, that's actually more of a reason to stay and dig a little deeper so you can understand those triggers, so you can stop being a slave to them. So Britney, I'm not buying that bullshit. You running and leaving and bailing out so soon had nothing to do with triggers or jacks. The only reason why you left is because you were just out of shape and you just couldn't handle it. So stop blaming your bullshit on everybody else, Britney. Take some ownership, a little accountability, and just say, I suck, I failed, I didn't show up, because you didn't. You bailed on yourself. And the only one responsible for your poor performance is you. And then there's Nate Cabraw, who actually is the victim of something outside of his control. Nick apparently has a brain tumor and he is about to go into surgery. So I just want to say we are praying for you, Nick. We are praying for your whole family. And that goes for all you guys too. Whether you like Danielle Cabraw or not, say a prayer for her husband. And now we are heading on over to Miami, everybody. And dear God, are the rumors running rampant. I cannot wait for this reunion. I mean, what is it? What do you think it is? I mean, that's what I want to know, you guys. What is your hypothesis? What do you think that the big bomb drop is going to be? Please leave it in the comments. We have to talk about this. So it is Christmas in Miami, everybody, and we are at Marysol's pajama party. The show opens up and there's two parties actually happening simultaneously. Marysol is having an adorable pajama party, and at the same time, her bestie Alexia is having like a relaunch of her spa, Alexia and Frankie's. At Marysol's party, you've got Adriana, Larsa, Stephanie, and Guerdy, who was just being so rude to the poor woman working the booth. I mean, did you see that? What is with Guerdy and this whole persona she takes on where I don't know, it just doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel authentic. It feels like she's pretending. Ooh, I just don't like it. And then over at Alexia and Frankie's, you've got Kiki, Alexia, and Julia. And while the three of them are there, Julia decides to tell the women that her and Martina are planning to have an event that melds together the adoption agency that they worked with and the opera that Julia sings with. Julia wants to find a place where these two things can intersect because she understands the healing properties of classical music, and she's absolutely right. Back at the pajama party, Adriana tells Guerdy that she feels like Julia has actually been acting like a covert enemy. And then back at the spa, we see a miracle happen, and Lisa shows up with Lenny, but not the real Lenny. Lenny's mini me. You guys, did you see her son? It is a carbon copy of Lenny. It's like insane. Not only do they look alike, but they sound alike. Their mannerisms are exactly the same. I do not know how Lisa cannot look at her son and just be transfixed by it's like looking at her ex-husband. Just, it's unbelievable. It's crazy. And then also in that same scene, I felt like I heard Lisa say something very clever, which doesn't happen often. She told her son that he needed to get a manicure, and when he pulled back like, oh no, why would I do that? She said to him, no, that's what it is. A man, get it? They're for men. A manicure, which I get isn't like great, but for Lisa, pretty quick. Then the topic of Todd comes up, and Alexia's son Peter tells her that he really doesn't want his brother living with Todd again because he doesn't want him around people that don't love him. And Alexia says, yeah, I understand that, Peter. Don't you think that's why I haven't moved back in with him? Then it's time for Julia's big event, which all the women showed up for except Adriana because Adriana was busy. She's rehearsing for her big event that all the women are slated to go to a few days later. All the ladies show up looking fabulous, and they're all reveling in how beautiful Martina's looking, how she's glowing. And Kiki goes on to say, well, you know, actually, I have a full-blown crush on Martina. I think it's the short hair. And Martina, you can tell, she says to her friend, you know, Kiki's always flirting with me, and it's so cute. As for Julia, she's fine with it. She tells Kiki to keep Martina juiced up. Then the ladies all ask Julia why Adriana isn't there with them, and as soon as she tries to explain, the women all shut her down, and they just say, we're not buying this bullshit. They all believe that Adriana could have moved her schedule around and made it work. Then the director of the opera gets up, and she announces a surprise performance between Julia and another opera singer. And the two of them got up, and I have to tell you, it was so gorgeous and so moving, and it stirred the souls of everybody there. Then Julia reflects on the fact that it wasn't just 5 months ago where they thought that their whole adoption journey was ended. She said, I never thought that I would be where we are now. She says, these kids have completely lit up my life, and not only have they lit up my life, but they've also lit up my marriage and my wife. And I feel like everybody walked away from that night feeling like something really special had just happened. And then it's the night of Stephanie's huge holiday party and Adriana's big performance. All of the women arrived. They're all decked out in their holiday best. As Lisa walks in, she makes sure everyone knows that she is not worried about Jody's behavior because he is a good Canadian boy. The one she's worried about is Larsa. But then like 2 minutes later, Larsa proved that she actually can play nice. And she said hello to Jody and gave him a kiss and a hug. Then Kiki pulls Adriana aside for a little chat. She's hoping to clear the air before Adriana goes on for her performance. She says, listen, I'm really sorry about the cake. She said, I did arrange that equation. She said, I want you to know that I had no ill will. I wasn't trying to hurt you. And Adriana accepted it. And then Kiki says, and listen, I'm sorry I walked away from you, but you started to imply that I said that you were racist. And I just want you to know I never have said that you were racist. I don't believe that you're racist. And I don't think that anybody in this entire group is racist. And then she says, and Adriana, let me tell you something. I still think that you are so beautiful for your age. And just as Adriana was about to say thank you, she heard the for your age part. The two of them part on good terms, but then just 30 minutes later, Adriana is telling Kiki and Marysol to fuck off when they confront her and tell her that Julia is really hurt about the fact that she didn't show up to her event. Adriana walks away flinging her hand at them, and she goes off to get ready for her big performance. And while she's gone, Kiki and Marysol tell Julia about the confrontation that they just had with her. And Julia says, funny enough, the day after my event, I texted her and said, I'm so sorry that you weren't able to make it, Adriana. It was so special. I wish you could have been there. And they're all like, oh yeah, did you get a response? What'd she say? And Julia says, no response. She didn't respond at all, not a word. Then Stephanie grabs the mic and announces that they're gonna step on over to the next room for the big musical performance. But even after everyone gets there, Adriana isn't quite ready. So Stephanie starts chanting, Adriana, which really just pisses Adriana off even more. But then the Brazilian bombshell finally takes the stage. She sings Feel the Rush, Fire, and her huge new hit, I Love My Dog. I Love My Dog? What? I mean, honestly, everyone was confused. Alexia says, who sings about their dog? I think it's stupid. Because when you really love your dog, you don't need to sing about it. And if you do, you should sing at home so your dog can hear you, because nobody else wants to hear that. And then Larsa says, I don't understand how she went from Emilio Estevez to I Love My Dog. And then Kiki tops it off with, oh, how the mighty have fallen. After Adriana finishes her show, she walks over and joins the other ladies, and then Julia stands up and grabs her arm and walks away with her, announcing that she wants to have a word with her best friend in person. So then the two of them go and sit down, and Julia says, I'm happy for you, Adriana. Do you know that I'm happy for you? And Adriana says, yeah. She says, but do you? And Adriana says, well, Julia, I don't know. I don't know if it's real because, the way you act now, you just act so weird. You're so different. And Julia says, why didn't you show up to my event? And a stunned Adriana says, why? What do you mean, why? Because I had 12 performers, 12 musicians depending on me to do a rehearsal. You obviously don't care about my craft, Julia. Did you really want me to sacrifice my dream to go to your event? Julia asks her if she's jealous because she's singing now too. And Adriana says, I'm not jealous of you singing. I'm upset because you're fake and you're mysterious and you're a bad friend. And I don't really want to throw you under the bus, but if you keep going, I will. And Julia says, shame on you, Adriana, shame on you. Adriana storms away and Julia goes after her. She says, Adriana, is this how you really want the night to end? And Adriana says, I have to go check on my band. And Julia says, have you checked on my children? And Adriana says, am I the godmother? You used me, Julia. You used me to get in this group. And now you don't need me anymore. So just go be with your new friends. And then Adriana takes it way up and goes full Brazilian mean girl. And when I say Brazilian mean girl, trust me, it's a different level. Adriana says she's been engaged 9 times. 9 times. Can you believe that? She just kept getting engaged until she found herself a champion player. And then she says to Julia, you're here tonight because of me. Because nobody would have ever found you in that shitty place you lived. Ever. They never would have found you. I brought you here. I gave you all your moments. You're a user. And I mean, it was crazy. And Julia, the shock on Julia's face was so real. And then to camera, Julia says, you know what? I have to say the truth. She says to camera, she always made it look like she was my best friend. But behind closed doors, she was manipulating me, guilt-tripping me, controlling me, trying to make me feel so small. And then she says, I'm done. This has been 4 years of psychological abuse. Then Stephanie stands up and announces the new drink that she's going to be adding to her menu, the Kiki Courage. She says it's inspired by Kiki, so it's bold and it's sweet, and all of the proceeds go to the Haitian Health Foundation. And then that gorgeous Kiki got up and gave the most beautiful, heartfelt speech about her home country. So cute. Then just as the night is wrapping up and all of the women are standing together, Adriana makes a statement about just wanting peace. But instead of peace, shit suddenly goes super sideways when Kiki stands up and announces, excuse me, Adriana, but Marysol just made it clear that she was the one that gave you the word wretched to use instead of ratchet. And then they cut back to earlier where Marysol is telling Kiki that she was the one that gave Adriana that word to use. She says, yeah, she was really upset. And I said to her, okay, say that you said this word wretched. And it just came out wrong because of your accent. And then in front of all the women, Marysol just speaks up and says, yeah, I told her that I would help her save her ass and clear up this ratchet thing. And at this point, honestly, shit couldn't get much messier. And Adriana then goes, see, this is what Marysol does. She's a manipulator. Adriana says, all I was doing was pouring my heart out about how upset I was that there was such a miscommunication. And then she's the one that volunteered the word wretched and said, say this and we'll go with this. And so I was just following along. She says, it wasn't even my idea. She's the one that came up with the word. And then she's trying to make it out like I owe her forever because of this. And now Adriana is pissed. She looks at Marysol and tells her, you look like you're going to a funeral. And then Marysol says back to her, yeah, well, you look like you're going to the ice skating rink. Stephanie tries to stop the fighting with, hey, these are the holidays. They should be about loving each other and giving back and joy. And then someone very smartly reminds the women that there are gifts. Suddenly everything shifts and we are right back into the spirit of the holiday season. And that is it, you guys. Another season in the books. And as it's closing, we get the updates. As for Julia, she co-starred in an opera. And at this point, only one of her two daughters has met the boys. As for Guerdy, she's still in therapy. As for Lisa, she started a divorce app with Jody, but she has yet to get that engagement ring. Then there's Larsa, who is still building her dream home, but she has a new dream man. Kiki's still working on her relationship with her dad. As for the new girl Stephanie, she is now talking to one of her two sisters. Marysol and her husband are planning another vow renewal in another location. And as for Alexia, her and Todd are officially divorced. And now the question is, you guys, what is the big bomb? What is it going to be? I'm dying to know what you guys think, so make sure you comment below. Miami has had such a season. I love it so much. I already can't wait for it to come back. All right, you guys, that about does it for us today, but I wanted to remind you that we are getting ready to start the General Assembly. So make sure that you go and sign up. I will leave the link down below. The General Assembly is going to happen once a week. You're going to get this mug with your membership that says General Assembly, founding member, established 2005. And on the back, it says stay rooted in love. And we are going to get together, you guys, once a week. The General Assembly is where we are going to have the kind of conversations that we really want to have. So make sure you go and sign up. It is going to be so much fun, and I'm so excited. I cannot wait to spend more time with you guys. All right, everybody, that about does it for this episode of Generally Speaking. Thank you so much for being here. If you've been watching us on YouTube, please make sure you reach out and smash that subscribe button. If you've been listening on your favorite streaming platform, please make sure you reach out and give us a follow, leave us a 5-star rating, leave a comment. We would love that. Tell your family, tell your friends. If you'd like to collaborate or have a question you'd like answered on the pod, you can reach me at jennifer@jennifersnook.com. And if you'd like to find me on socials, you can find me on TikTok at This Is Generally Speaking or on Instagram at The Jennifer Snook. All right, everybody, I have loved spending this time with you. Thank you so much for being here. And until we're together again, everybody, stay rooted in love. We'll see you next time.